Okay, so we are going to dive into tax and the principles of tax first. Then we will know the prerequisites, what we are supposed to know, what people are missing out, and how to succeed at this paper. Please, I want you to be giving me frequent responses, right? So that I can hear from you. And this is not a lecture where you just listen and then you go. You have to talk. Yesterday's class was amazing. I mean, people were active. Yeah, I like that kind of active class so that I can give you all the tips and tricks you need. But if you are just quiet, it bores the hell out of me. Before you see, I'll just cut it short, right? So this is not just a listening party. You contribute as well. I hope that is fine. Nobody even responded. I think it will be better if we started with advanced audit and assurance first, and then we dive into tax. Okay, so I think that would be better. So I wanted us to look at some few things, right, in the syllabus. If you're an ICA student, but I hope when I talk, you can hear me. Hello.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Your voice is
Yes, sir.
okay. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, that's fine. If you can hear me, that's fine. So when it comes to advanced audit, right? There are some few things we have to do. So I'm going to just give you some few things. Now, when you look at the advanced audit paper, right? This is more practical. Now, advanced audit, I will say, is difficult than corporate reporting. But because we've sold the idea that, oh, audit is easy, audit is easy, audit is easy, right? Because we've sold that idea, it is actually easy. You get it? Than corporate reporting or any other paper. But the thing is, if you don't learn what they want and give them the right answers, just like case study, you will find yourself wanting. Now, what does the syllabus require from us? Now, one, you must have the basic knowledge of audit and assurance. So at paper 2.3, audit and assurance is more theoretical in nature. So this model is designed to provide candidates with the necessary knowledge and higher level skills. They didn't say basic skills. Higher level skills to perform what? The responsibilities of a registered auditor within the framework of the relevant Ghana legislation and international standards. So model outcomes are based on the requirements of the international standards on auditing, ISAs, with an introduction to international standards of what? Supreme audit institutions, right? So you are going to learn the ISAI, right? and then the public sector framework. So further work is then developed to investigate the requirements of public sector audits. So if you look at advanced audit itself, I'll be giving you some few tricks. We will look at some ICEs too, some common ICEs, what you need to understand. Do you understand? Now, when you get this thing for me, I believe you should be fine, right? In the exam that you're going to write. Please show by hand, how many of you are writing advanced audit and assurance? How many of you are writing advanced audit and assurance? How many of you are writing advanced audit and assurance? Please show me by hand.
You said how many people have passed it?
No, are writing, not pass.
Oh, okay.
If you know you are writing advanced audit and assurance, just put up your hand.
Boss, good evening.
And now make this from and research center. Malaria symptoms.
The test for malaria because this outbreak is heavily approved. Prof, good evening.
I'm just asking for all those who are in advanced audit and assurance. Before we proceed. Before we proceed. Now, I want to make something clear, okay? If you want to pass advanced audit, all the things that you learned in corporate reporting will still become handy. Please, I hope what I said, you heard me. I hope you heard what I said.
Yes, please.
Yes. So all the things that you learned in corporate reporting, financial reporting will also become handy. A little bit of public sector will also be needed. Now, if you are doing advanced auditing, you must have professional skepticism mind. You must always have the alertness of mind that something might be wrong. Okay. So there are models that I am going to give you ideas about how to approach. It doesn't matter where the question is coming from. There's always have the mind that something is wrong until you are proven right. What did I say?
Something is wrong until proven right.
Yeah, so you in your mind, you are always having the mindset that what the client, are you getting it, has done something wrong. Do you get it? The client has done something wrong until you are proving what? Right. Is it clear? Is everybody okay?
Yes, sir.
So that is how you should keep your mind, that something is wrong until you are proven right. Okay. So have this mindset and then always you will probe. And I'll come and show you some key topics that you should understand, right? Okay, I just want to share my screen. If you see my screen, you tell me whether my screen is visible or not before we move to taxation. Let's the screen side by side. So I'm heading there to advanced audit and assurance. Now, I believe you can all see my screen. When you look at the grade for audit and assurance in level 2, that is the basic auditing, right? You see that they have the nature of audit and assurance, the regulatory, professional, and ethical issues, accepting and managing engagement, planning for engagement, engagement evidence, audit review, concluding and reporting, internal audit, and audit in the public sector. Now, these ones are mostly knowledge requirements, like theory. Though in advanced audit, you will get theory. The theory is not so much, right? I always tell students the reason why they fail papers, theory papers in IC or application papers like case study and advanced audit and assurance, right? This kind of, please excuse me. This kind of courses usually have a lot of Now, most people got exemption from this audit and assurance paper, right? But at the advanced level, you must still have knowledge of these before you can answer the practical questions. Do you get me? So especially understanding the regulatory, professional, and ethical issues are key. How to accept and manage engagement, how to plan, how to deal with evidence, how to do review, conclusion and reporting, and public sector issues are still part of the advanced level. But the advanced level, they make it more scenario based. Okay. I hope you are all following. Now, look here. It says what? Advanced audit and assurance. This model is designed to provide candidates with the necessary knowledge and higher level skills to perform responsibilities of a registered auditor within the framework of relevant Ghana legislation and international standards. Okay. Model outcomes are based on the requirements of the international standards on auditing. Further work is then developed to cater for the requirements for public sector audits. After completion of this model, you will reach a competency sufficient to be able to evaluate and advise on ethical and legal issues for specified audit and assurance engagement. Now, you see this syllabus outcomes. These are potential questions as well. Everything you see in the syllabus is actually a question. So it means that they'll give you a scenario and ask you to evaluate or advise on ethical and legal or professional issues that may exist in a particular scenario, right? So most of the time, when it comes to ethical issues, let me just, can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
You can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
We can see
So
your screen.
it is ethical and professional issues, right? And in exam, it will be difficult for you to split the ethical and professional issues, though there's a clue as to what ethical issues will be and what professional issues will be, right? So typical issues include things like what? The fundamental principles, right? Mostly, I tell students that this is the part of ethics that is mostly ignored. So the fundamental principles which have been breached in a particular scenario. So you are looking at what? The breach of a particular fundamental principle, whether objectivity, integrity, confidentiality, whatever it is, right? Then it could be an issue regarding what? The threats, ethical threats. Okay, so dealing with the ethical threats, it can be an issue regarding conflict of interest. Okay, conflict of interest. So maybe there's an issue with the directors, or you are dealing, let's say you are auditing two clients. Your two clients who end up being competitors, right? So you have to adopt something like a Chinese wall or use separate teams to audit them, right? Where you are stuck in a dilemma. Always, when you are stuck in a dilemma, you seek legal advice, okay? Then we can also deal with the integrity of the client. That is why we do what? Know your client procedure. So some things like this mostly happen most of the time in ethical scenarios, right? And the common ones are these ones. But I realize that when students answer questions regarding threats, okay, they only stick to the threats. They don't talk about the principle that has been breached. All right. And this is one thing that weakens you, is like you don't get the full mark for it. The reason why you are doing this threats is to see which of the fundamental principles have actually been breached. Remember, these ethical issues also are risks to the auditor. If you must know, they are risks. Okay. Remember, a risk that people will not trust your opinion again because they think you are not independent. Do you get it? People don't look at it from that side, but if you are able to think about it, you see that yes, this risk will not make people trust your opinion, because let's say if you are familiar with the client, familiarity trait, I get it. It's a breach of integrity and objectivity, meaning you lack independence. And because of that, people may not trust your opinion. And an audit risk, I get it, is the situation where people will not trust your opinion. So ethics and risk are correlated. They are related, actually. So if you want to get more marks, there are some things you can do, right? Anyway, these are the key things, and then you do it. Let me just give you a typical example how this is related to risk. So let's say I tell you that this guy was employed, right? A fresh graduate. So fresh ICA graduate, right? Let's say this guy is a fresh ICA graduate employed by his uncle, right? He was employed by his uncle too. He has never worked a day in his life, but he was employed as a fresh ICA graduate, right? Left him to a whole department. Left him to a whole, let's say, whole internal control department, no supervision. They didn't supervise him, nothing. Are you getting it? They also, so he had a transaction, right? He capitalized R&D. Okay, let's say he capitalized R&D to make assets, let's say to make the assets look maybe high, or I get him to look big or high, right? Because they are going for loan. Company want to go for loan, or they want loan. So they want a good asset position, so that, you know, he capitalized R&D to make the assets look good. So there are so many issues in here, right? So for instance, if I'm identifying ethical issue, the first thing is what went wrong. Are you guys following? What is wrong? And this applies to every paper, not only audit and assurance, even tax. This is in tax. What went wrong? The guy has actually what? Capitalized R&D. Not so? True or false? Let's solve it together. He capitalized R&D. That is one of the things that went wrong. No be so?
It is so.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the right thing to do? What's the right thing to do? That means, what does the IAS say? R&D should be what?
The IAS says that research should be expensed, but
It should-
development should have certain parameters it meets before it can be capitalized.
For instance, the pirate criteria, right? It must be probable that future economic benefit will flow intention to complete,
Technical feasibility.
feasibility, availability of resources, not to estimation, right? Reliable,
Yeah.
all these things must be met. And you are going to say, check whether what he did, was it intentional or unintentional? If this thing was intentional, are you getting it? Then he breached objectivity and what? And integrity, because he's lying. Do you understand? If you did something intentionally, it means you have breached objectivity or integrity. And why would he breach objectivity or integrity? That means there was some threat there. Do you understand? And the threat is as a result of why he would have done that. One, he was employed by his uncle. He being employed by his uncle, he would want to favor his uncle. Meboa. True or false?
True.
So what has happened? Familiarity is there.
Familiarity threat. Yeah.
You get the idea? Two, he's a fresh graduate. He thinks they may take the work from him, so he will do what to favor the company. Intimidation is there. Three, he's a fresh graduate. Maybe only Jumaneni. That means he may have done it unintentionally. And if unintentionally, it means that his competence is also what? At stake. And if his competence is at stake, what may cause his competence to be at stake? Maybe he lacked insufficient time, insufficient resources, insufficient training, or insufficient information.
Or supervision.
Yes, which is all part of traits. The training comes to the supervision. So if this guy didn't have all these things, that could have led to why it is a breach in competence. Pressure from management, intimidation. It's a fresh graduate. Mostly ICA likes to bring this inside questions to tell you that this is the first time you are doing the work, so you will be intimidated because they will control you. You feel like you will lose your job if you don't do what they want. And also, because the company wants to go for a loan, this can be an incentive, right? Self-interest. So when you're answering questions, I see people do not usually talk about the principles that have been breached. They only talk about the threat. This one was employed by his uncle. So this one is familiarity, or he was, are you getting it? But they don't talk about the principle. Did you get the whole idea? Did it make sense? And you
Yes,
trust
sir.
this approach, you will get the full mark. And no be lying. I've done this over the years, so I know how these things work. Right? Now we've seen ethical. What about professional issues? When it comes to professional issues, that's what I'm saying. In exam, just identify them because you cannot separate them actually. But any issue you identify as professional, which also comes with legal issues. Okay. Please hold on for me. Please, are we okay? So professional comes with legal. A common professional issue that you would get is mostly money laundering clues, right? So let's say money laundering is washing dirty money clean. And this one, it will not be obvious to you. Why wouldn't it be obvious to you? Let's say you are dealing with a client, right? You get the client, let's say you request the client's bank account. You see what transactions which you are not so sure of. They don't tell you the source of the funds, right? All these things can be clues. So money laundering goes through 3 stages. If you want to catch a thief, you must first become a thief, right? 3 stages. First, we place it in the financial system, okay? We call it placement. So this is where you put it into the banks, okay? Then secondly, what you do is you create a layer of transactions. You create a trail of transactions from one bank to the other, transfers. Then finally, what you do is you integrate it into the system, right? And use it to, let's say you put it into betting, you put it into filling stations, you put it into gambling. Even if you lose some, you gain some, right? So let me just show you a simple trick about how some people use arbitrage to wash dirty money clean. Let's say if I have 50 million, right, that I want to wash clean. And I know 2 teams are playing. I want to invest in sports betting, right? I'll divide this into 25 million and 25 million, right? Are you guys following? Don't try this at home. So I will come and say team A will win and put 25 million here. And I'll say team B will also win and put the rest of the 25 million here. You get it? So at the end of the day, even if this team loses, I know that this 25 million will give me more returns. Do you guys follow?
What about a draw?
They know how they do it. They permit. They know how they do it.
Okay.
So they split the money in a way that they won't lose. At least the person who does that calculation will find a way to also talk about draw. I mean, allot some funds to draw as well. I get it. So sometimes they split it into 4. It depends on what particular thing they want to do. So at the end of the day, this 25 million, the returns are even higher than this 50 million. True or false? True or false?
True.
So
True.
if you assess this guy, it will be like the money that came was all from betting. But the question is, where did you get such money to put into the betting in the first place? Do you get it? That is where the betting companies hardly disclose this. But now we are working on anti-money laundering policy. So they do a lot of tricks. And people, their style of money laundering is even given to people, a lot of people to bring to the country in smaller chunks. But the whole thing is that in the case, you will see some bank account, which is rare. We are going to see high deposits transferred to a low tax jurisdiction using tax havens. You can even see tax evasion, right? So some of these things, I get in, you may see it, or even politically exposed persons, right? They'll tell you that the minister's son has stake in the company. All these things are clues that you see. Now, at this level, your eyes must be open. Do you understand? Anything you see is a professional legal issue, if not an ethical issue. So the trick is, if you are a student and you try to separate the professional and legal issues from the ethical issues, you will falter because sometimes they mix it up. So all my style is that whichever one you identify, write it down. So I've given you the first one. I said is what? The first one is what? Money laundering what? Clues, right? I know this one you will learn it in class, so I'll not worry myself plenty, but I'm just giving you some of the things that you are going to see, right? Yeah. So after money laundering clues, the second thing that you should take very serious, which is part of every professional and legal issues, is quality control. There's no ethics question that quality control is not part. Quality control is a question on its own almost every time. And this diet, you should be very careful, especially with quality control. So audit quality, you are talking about the overall quality of the audit. Are you getting it? So if your opinion will come out right, you need to do a quality audit. If you will not be sued, you need to do a quality audit. And quality control is at 2 levels. At the firm level, so within the audit firm itself, there needs to be proper quality control. You understand? And on individual assignments, the assignment level, let's say that, okay, now we've moved out of the firm, we are going to the client's place. Proper organization, proper planning. Are you getting it? Junior staff shouldn't be doing what senior staff are supposed to do, right? Proper control, proper monitoring, supervision, review. All those things should be in place, right? Proper composure, proper documentation. All these things, they bring it in scenarios and you are supposed to be able to answer. I can even give you simple or sample cases where you have to check whether what the person did was right or wrong. Would you want us to take a simple case? Should we? Or we
Sure,
should
sir.
move? We should move on.
No, let's
You
take
take
it.
okay.
Okay. So wait for me. Let me just log into my account and then look for quality control, maybe a case. I mean, this question pops up more often. Hold on, let me just open. Some people, their skin is itching. They are waiting for tax. Don't worry, we'll get to tax right now. I beg you. No. Quality control. Hold on. Yeah. So look at this one. You are the manager of Bimbo and Company, a firm of chartered accountants and consultants. The firm is currently undertaking the audit of the 2024 accounts of BT Mining Services, a firm engaged in the supply and servicing of mining equipment 2 months after the year end. The audit team comprises Kweku Owusu, who is the supervisor, Mary Mensah as audit senior, and Kofi Osei and John Kwame as trainees. So we have a supervisor, an audit senior, and then trainees. Now, BT has 50 billion Ghana cedis, right? For the year ending 30th June 2024 and 35 billion I get in for 2023. The total asset is 8.4 billion and 5.4 billion in the previous year. Now, you have visited the audit team, reviewed the working papers, and summarized the findings relating to the year as follows. So, Mr. Owusu, who is the supervisor, is assigned to another audit that took him to Sam Reboy and last visited the team 12 working days ago. At the beginning of the audit, what he did, was it right? So that means he has left these guys on their own. He came 12 days ago. What do you guys think? Even though you haven't started advanced audit or you are yet to write it, do you think there's quality here? Do you think there's quality here?
No, there isn't.
There isn't. Why? Why?
Well, the team supervisor hasn't been with the team for 12 working days since the beginning of the audit.
Okay, nice. Let's continue. Now, meanwhile, Ms. Mensah, the senior, has completed the audit of tangible fixed assets, right, including property and service equipment, amounting to 2.4 billion. So look at total assets, right? How much was total assets? I want you to do some small calculation for me, right? Look at the asset that this guy did, 2.4 billion as at this year. And last year, total assets amounted to what? 8.4 billion. So do the 2.4 out of the 8.4. What percentage is that? Times 100. Quick. What do we get? You are checking how material it is. That's about 28% of total assets, right? So look at the part.
28.57.
Yes, so let's just say roughly 28%, right? So the part that the supervisor is auditing is 28.5% of total assets. Okay. Now, Kofi Osei has sent out requests for confirmation of debtor balances, who is a trainee at 30th June, and the trade debtors stood at 5.7 billion. Let's see. 5.7 billion out of the total of 8.4 times 100. What percentage is it? 67% of total assets. How would a senior be working on a less material area and then a trainee? He's not even a trainee, is working on the most material area. Does it make sense? Is there quality here?
No.
Because the risky area, no. Oh, they are my trainee. Now, no, they know him. And then you are doing the less material area. And even when you look at the change, even inside, the change is quite wide than that of the total asset. Now, BT Mining's office cashier, Cowboy, keeps office impressed, amounting to 2 million. To meet sundry expenses, the audit program shows that the cash count is outstanding. That means there's no cash count. And Miss Mensah, which is the supervisor, explained that when Kwame was sent to carry out cash count, Cowboy was busy paying casuals at the end of the week, their end of week wages. The cash count has therefore been postponed to another date. This has not been documented in the audit working papers. Why? Why is there no documentation? Does it represent quality?
No.
So how would we know that was done? Meanwhile, Kwame has been explaining to Osei how to select samples for test checking. See trainee explaining to trainee how to select samples for test checking. Osei has been requested by the supervisor to audit stock, which has consumable stores, which amounts to 15 million. Right? So you can check the materiality just like we did. The company omitted to invite Bimbo and Co to the stock taking because the directors claimed the stocks were inconsequential compared to the total tangible fixed assets. So you didn't also request for any evidence. Osei has therefore carried out tests of control over purchase and issues as part of the cut-off procedures to confirm quantities at the end. CO. 1, the inventory is material, 50 million. 1. Secondly, look at the risk here. They are telling you that they were inconsequential compared to total tangible fixed assets. And you didn't do a major test, and all you did was just test of control over purchasing and issues as part of your cut-off procedure. It wasn't the right thing you had to do. So they said identify and comment on any
What I
short.
have to do is confess
That's-
normal. Now,
Do you get it? So these are some of the ways these quality controls come in the advanced audit and assurance exam. Okay. And when it comes, it's the same question that they just change some few things and repeat it over and over and over again. Yet people still don't get it. But did you get a style of the question?
Yeah.
Yes, some of them they will tell you that one of the seniors said it is not important to plan for this audit. And sometimes it starts within the firm. They didn't have proper employment structure. They didn't employ the right staff. Okay. You need audit. One of the cases, they went to employ I think an HND guy, and the HND guy hadn't even done accounting. He did something. And then they included him in the team. You get it? You are going to see leadership problems. There's no proper monitoring. These are some of the things that you encounter. But I believe we are learning small. We are going. You get it. So ethical, professional, and legal issues. The third area that I want you, which is rare most of the time, is audit liability. Under what circumstance would the auditor be sued? So when they say legal issues, mostly this auditor's liability. Okay, so under what circumstance will the auditor be sued? Okay, under what circumstance will the auditor be sued? So mostly these things, we put them under practice management, like the quality control, managing your accounting practice or managing your audit firm, right? But I like to just put them on their own because they are separate concepts. Are we okay? Then the fourth area. So audit liability is 2. Sometimes we even, let's make it 3, right? We have what we call civil liability. That is between the auditor and the client. So we are saying that, okay, client versus auditor. We are saying that, okay, maybe you did something wrong to the client and the client sued you. We have what we call criminal liability. Criminal liability means it's between the auditor versus the attorney general versus the state. It means that maybe they spotted some criminal activity, let's say terrorism, drug trafficking. I get something that is criminal. Then we have negligence. Okay, negligence is the liability of tort. So this is where we have to prove if a third party is involved. We have to prove 3 things. That one, you owed a duty of care, right? You owed a duty of care to the person. The duty was breached, and as a result, the person faced damages or the person faced losses. If this can be proven, then the auditor can be sued. Then the next thing is you have to know what ways to overcome audit liability, right? After that, you're also going to look at practice management, or let's say audit advertising, right? That's also a professional issue. The whole thing about advertising is 1, don't badmouth other auditors. Don't give unsubstantiated claims. So we are saying something like, oh, we are the best auditors there is. It's unsubstantiated claim. You cannot prove what shows you are the best auditor. You can say we have won the following awards and proves we are the best. That's fine, but you cannot say what we are the best, or we will give you the opinion you want, right? Don't badmouth, unlike other auditors. No, don't badmouth other people, right? You can't badmouth the other people. You can't say maybe profs and associate ICA, using the ICA name to your own benefit, right? Then the ethical issues still are here. Come and then we'll give you the opinion you want. objectivity may be in question, right? It means that they can give you gift and hospitality just to get what they want. So advertising also has this, and sometimes you must bid for contracts. So things like what? Tendering. Okay, what mostly you are going to see is what goes into your tender, your audit tender, right? The fees, all those things. I get it. The things that go into your employment letter, something similar goes into the tender. Then sometimes we go for it to see the impact on the audit because of what has happened in the case. So the impact on the audits, mostly you are looking at the kind of opinion, right? So you are looking at the kind of opinion which will be issued because of what has happened. Remember, I told you that these ethical issues also have an impact on the statement. That is the risk, because if we see that you are unethical, or maybe the manager or the director is your girlfriend, we will not trust your opinion, and it can also impact the kind of opinion, right? So when we say professional and ethical issues, there are so many things, anything that comes to mind. That's how I do it. So you end up getting so many points, even apart from the things that you have here. If you spot things like non-compliance, maybe the person was not complying with the tax law, or the person was doing tax evasion, it's a legal and professional issue. If you see fraud, it's a legal and professional issue, right? If you see anything, drug traffic, whatever you see, it constitutes a legal and professional issue. Hello, did you learn something?
Yeah, we are
Yes,
following.
sir.
Yeah, so these are tricks that most people don't know. When they say ethics, they just dive into only ethics. But I tell you, it has a broader scope. Do you get it? And anything you see, I told you, if you try to separate them, that's where you have a problem. But in exam, if you identify professional and legal issues and ethical issues, you just identify them as you see them, you'll be fine. Don't try to separate them, because sometimes they are not separate. One issue may lead to another, and that is how you deal with these areas. Okay, so what at all are they asking for around this area? So look, so evaluate and advise on what? Ethical and legal issues for specified audit and assurance engagement. So you have to evaluate and advise on legal, professional, and ethical issues that may arise for an engagement, including evaluation and communication with any party to the engagement. Then discuss procedures for obtaining professional work, including tendering, advertising, and agreement of fees. I believe we talked about this.
Did.
Okay, then recognize and evaluate ethical dilemmas and threats in accepting and managing engagement, and making judgment when it may be appropriate to refer an ethical matter to a more senior colleague for third-party advice. So we saw the ethical threats, the breach of the principles, right? And then there are safeguards. Okay, what actions should be taken? So mostly when there's a trick. Okay, I use models or frameworks for everything I do in every professional exam. So when you are looking at ethics, right, in every paper, not only advanced audits, it could be corporate reporting, tax, whatever. Now all the papers have ethics. You can use my good friend Iowa. What did I say? You can use what? My good friend what?
Iowa.
Iowa.
Iowa. What is the issue? He was employed by his uncle. Why is it an issue if he's employed by his uncle? Do you understand? Because he becomes so familiar that he may ignore things that he's not supposed to ignore just to be on the good side of his uncle. What action can be taken? Do you understand? And these actions are the safeguards. And these safeguards, the way they put it in most books, it makes students get confused. Let me tell you something. Safeguard is just an action which you can put in place to minimize this threat to an acceptable level. So this issue and why, I getting it, has to do with what principle has been breached because of he being employed by his uncle. What threat is it? I getting it. You can even look at the significance of the threat. That if this threat should continue, it may lead to this. Okay, I mean, express yourself. In my opinion, I think that's what they want to see. Hardly do I see people answer questions.
What are you doing now?
Okay, and this does not only apply to audit, it applies to every single course which has some sort of case study element, right? So this safeguard, we can look at it from 3 levels. I look at it this way, and I mean, it makes sense actually. The safeguards can be provided by the profession. The ICA profession itself has some safeguards, some actions that can stop people from taking advantage of these situations, right? Or acting unethically. By the profession, one, there are CPDs which you must comply with, right? There are training, there are seminars, there are audit supervisory. I get the audit supervisors come from ICA to check. I get in it. They can even take disciplinary. So there's a disciplinary committee who discipline people. I get in it. If they default, there's even the ICA examinations, right? Which acts as a safeguard so that not anybody at all can take the examination. Does it make sense? So these
Yeah.
things stop somebody to not act ethical. That's why all the papers ethics, right? The safeguard. Two, the one provided by the work environment. Okay, there are safeguards provided by the work environment. So in the client work environment or the audit firm itself, there are some safeguards. Like what? Corporate governance, right? Corporate governance. If we have proper corporate governance procedures, then people cannot easily mess up, right? The use of audit committees. When we have audit committees, these things can be checked. When we institute proper internal controls, let's say we have internal control system, we do frequent monitoring, we do frequent risk assessment. All these things can check, right? When we have a good reporting and information system, then on individual assignment, right? So there are safeguards that we can institute on individual assignment. If I know that my wife has shares in the company, I can just take out the shares, right? If I know that my uncle is them, then I can exclude myself. I can rotate clients. All these things are safeguards. So I break safeguards this way. So remember my good friend, what? IWA. IWA will help you. That's all. Did that make sense? So you
Good.
see, evaluate the extent of legal liability on both criminal and civil law, including professional negligence issues and how they can be mitigated. You remember negligence? I mentioned something about negligence. 3 questions. What were they? What were they? Like I'm teaching you the tricks to advanced audit in general. What were they? I mentioned that. Did you owe the client duty of care? Was that duty breached? Did the person face losses or damages? If this can be proved, right? So auditor liability, those things. Then evaluate the potential issues that determine the nature, scope, and extent of an engagement, paying attention to what? Personnel sourcing, quality management, the use of internal audit components, monitoring procedures used to ensure effective management, requirements of joint audit, including engagement involving auditors from both private and public sector. So all this has to do with quality control. I told you quality control, you cannot ignore it. Every time, it should be in your mind that every audit requires quality. So you prepare for quality. Is that okay? Can you see? So evaluate the considerations of auditor for an auditor of business risk issues identified prior to accepting an engagement, including those arising from technological advances, cybersecurity, and fraud, and assess their impact. So business risk is anything that will impact your cash flow and your going concern in simple terms. So if something happens, right, and then I'm not going to get the money I'm supposed to get, or I'm not going to get the cash flow I'm supposed to get, or it can take me out of business, then it's a business risk. Business risks have broad categories, right? So mostly people say, okay, business risk can be financial in nature, financial risk, okay? It can be compliance in nature, so compliance risk, okay? And it can be a sort of, there's another one. What is the last classification? I've forgotten, but let's say physical risk. Other books, schools of thoughts also say business risk can be internal or external. And that is true. Internal, like if I have poor governance, it's a business risk. It can lead me into a, if I have operational risk, let's say a machine got spoiled, right? It can impact my cash flow. Even if I have a strategic risk, right? Poor strategy, it's an internal risk. Okay, if you come externally, the pestle factors are also going to affect you. The 5 forces are going to affect your profitability. You know that. All the external factors, you know. So when it comes to advanced audit and assurance, right? Identifying risk, business risk, you can use this pestle and 5 forces. But when you come within the organization itself, right? There are some things that you can talk about, like if we don't have proper systems, we have weak control, all those things can lead to business risks, but they are also tied to what? Accounting or financial statement risks as well. Okay, so remember that one. And then here was business risk. But now that there's more technological advancement, let's say the person doesn't have good cyber security protection, maybe in case of fraud, non-compliance, how does the company deal with it? Okay, these things can impact the business risk because auditors they do not have a specific role towards fraud. It is management that deals with the detection and prevention of fraud. Auditors just produce or do procedures to check how that fraud has impacted the financial statement. So all these things can be risk. A fraud, I get in over, let's say, customers paid some money and your credit controller took the money and ran away. It can collapse the company. It is a business risk. How does it impact this company overall? These are some things that you need to talk about, right? But business risks are also tied to audit risk in some way, especially your inherent risk. So inherent risk is a risk that is tied to your business such that you cannot set proper controls for it. For instance, if I'm in the technology industry, one of the risks is inventory obsolescence. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Some people think what we are doing only applies to advanced audit. It is not true. It applies to every course because now ethics, some of these things that we are talking about still apply to corporate reporting, and I'll show you. It applies everywhere in any of the courses you are doing. This part is now called professional skepticism. They've just included it in any course. You need this knowledge. Now, if I sell computers, all the time, new models of computers keep coming. No be so. Every time new models of computers keep coming, and it could mean that the ones I have in stock may have become what? Obsolete. If I come to IAS, then IAS 2 will come into play, saying that we have to measure inventory at the lower of what? NRV or fair value less cost to sell and what? And cost, right? The lower of cost and NRV. Maybe, okay, let's forget that one. Now, you see, this one started as a business risk. This risk, your inventory becoming obsolete, you can easily lose customers, true or false?
True.
True. But the risk is tied to your business such that if this thing keeps on happening, it can also affect your inventory. Maybe what? Yeah, so business risks are mostly, if only it is inherent, it becomes an inherent risk. So there's a risk that there's a difference between business risks and financial statement risks, but there's also a connection. Like this thing that I showed you, right? So as a student, you should know the thin line between business risk and financial statement risk or risk of material misstatement. So risk is very important, right? It's very important, but business risk and financial statement risk, especially inherent risk, this risk, can you create a control for it? You can create a control for it. Do you understand? That's what makes it inherent because it is tied to your business. Assuming you have a complex group structure, can you do anything about it?
No.
No, it is tied to your business. That's what makes it inherent. A business now. That's what it means. But when they say people should look for audit risk, they go into the exam and they are looking for inherent. You can't find inherent risk too. Those things lead to the financial statement being wrong. Okay, it leads to some sort of wrong disclosure. So when you are looking at an accounting standard, okay, audit simplified. I want to show you some trick. You see, mostly when we have accounting standards, mostly, let's say the most important part are what? Recognition. Maybe what? Whether the thing should hit or it should hit what? The balance sheet. Maybe what? Then we have what? Measurement. At what cost? Not so.
So
At what value do we put it on the financial statement? Then finally, we have what? Presentation and what? Disclosure. So recognition comes with what? Derecognition, right? The conceptual framework has talked about. So presentation and what? Disclosure, right? The background noise, the background noise, the background noise. So look at something here. Anytime there's a risk on the financial statement, it is either these things have happened, especially when you are measuring value, the value can also be understated, overstated, omitted, wrongly classified. So wrong classification mostly will have to do with recognition. okay, which has to do with the accounting policy. So I'm supposed to charge borrowing cost. Where do we charge borrowing cost? In the P&L, right? That's the benchmark treatment. The original treatment for all interest is P&L. But when it meets the criteria EBA under IAS 23, expenses are being incurred, borrowing costs are being incurred, activities to complete the asset for its intended use or sale are being incurred, then you can send it to the balance sheet. So assuming it met the criteria and you still kept it in the P&L, it means you have done wrong recognition. And that wrong recognition is a financial statement risk. Why? Because this wrong recognition you have done is going to, one, reduce your profit. True or false? Because the
True.
borrowing, which is the interest, should have been in the balance sheet. But now that you have charged it in the P&L, it is going to reduce the profit. What mindset is the person who did it? What is his mindset? Is it that they want to reduce tax? Get my mind. If he wants to reduce tax, is it Buapayo? Was it intentional or unintentional? Is there any ethical backing behind this? Is there pressure from management? You see how I interrelate everything. That's how you do audit. That's why people's answers are one-sided. They can learn. They know the whole syllabus. They sit the exam and then they get 51, 52. It's because the answers are mostly inadequate. And you see how I'm able to link them, right? I don't want to talk about assertions here, but I'm giving you the simplest way to deal with audit risk. Okay, check what has been done. Like the guy's own R&D was supposed to be what? Capitalized. It was what? Expensed. What has happened? Was it wrong recognition, wrong measurement, wrong presentation and disclosure? Where did it fall? Where was it? Where will it fall? Is it recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure? It's more about recognition.
Recognition.
Where you put it. Do you understand? This one was it has to do with recognition problem. And as a result of that, what happens? So you must tell us the end result. Does it end up inflating expenses? Are you getting understating income, understating assets? What is the mindset behind the person who did it? What is the right way it was supposed to be done? Is it material? So usually, risk is tied to accounting treatment. So there are some topics, they are all related. Risk, there's something we call matters and evidence, but that one you add evidence to it. Then ethics. This thing, there's relationship between them because all of them, you must tell us what is wrong. Check if the thing is material to the account, and materiality, you must check, right? So for instance, if I've told you that maybe the person has what? Recorded inventory, right? Recorded inventory at cost. Okay, and the cost of the inventory was 400,000. You get the idea. And let's say total assets was, let's say, 1.6 million. Okay. To check whether inventory is material, materiality, people get confused as how it's calculated. We have materiality thresholds. It should be what? 5% of total asset upward is material, right? So it's two things. You can, one, just calculate this 400,000 out of the 1.6 to see if it is more than this 5%. That's one way. That means you get materiality in percentage, which tells you it's material. So if it's more than this 5%, it's material. Two, you can also do that 5% of the 1,006. So 16 divided by 2, that's 8. That should give us about 800, right? 80, sorry. No, so that's about 80,000. So if you calculate this 80,000, which is that 5%, and you compare it to this figure, it means that the figure is material, right? Because once it's above 80,000, it makes it material. So it tells you that this thing you are dealing with, this inventory is material. Okay. So what the person did, was it wrong or it was right? Did it lead to any wrong recognition, inappropriate disclosure, wrong measurement? This one is not recognition. This is measurement problem. Did you notice? Because inventory is supposed to be measured at lower of cost and what? NRV, or fair value less cost to sell. But he recognized it at cost when the NRV was lower. So that write down, which was supposed to be done, has still inflated what? The income or the profit, because the write down is an expense which is supposed to what? reduce profit. And also inventory has also been what? Overstated, because they should have been measured lower than expected. So it's a two-way street. Anything that affects the other side has another side on the balance sheet. So you talk about the two sides and also tell us why this might have been done. But that is for risk, right? That's how you identify audit risks. Okay. Mostly we call it risk of material misstatements. But when it comes to matters, you will do this materiality, talk about what was wrong, what the person did right, what the person didn't do right, and these things that we are doing here. You talk about the inappropriate disclosure, wrong measurement, presentation, blah, blah, blah. When you finish, you must tell us the kind of evidence which must be collected. Okay, and evidence is simply what you can get that information from, right? So your documents, your accounting books, oral representation from directors or written representation from directors, board minutes, then the accounting books itself, the vouchers, the invoices, all those things are sources of evidence. We have documentary evidence, we have evidence from experts, evidence from sampling. We have so many ways you can get evidence, and people still find this thing difficult. Anyway, that's just by the way. Me, when I'm learning, I try to group, right, the things that are similar. That way, when I'm learning, it becomes easier, right? There's always a way to crack the code. And I don't remember the last time I taught advanced audit. It's been a while. It's been like 4 or 5 years since I last taught advanced audit. Anyway, let's continue. So evaluate the considerations for an auditor of audit risk identified on accepting an engagement. That's what we just discussed. So audit risk comes with an equation, right? And the equation for audit risk is audit risk AR is the product of inherent risk by control risk. Okay, inherent risk by, why is my disc messing up? Inherent risk by control risk by detection risk. Okay, this is audit risk. So these two are called the risk of material misstatement. This is what we call the financial statement risk. This one is the fault of the entity. Are you guys following? I said it's the fault of what? It's the fault of the what? Hello? I said this one is the fault of what? The entity.
The
Detection
entity.
is the risk that either your samples or your procedures did not detect the risk or did not detect something wrong with the account, right? So it can be sampling or non-sampling risk. If you are doing tax audits, we call it procedures risk. Either you use wrong procedures. Assuming you have a population of 100, right? And you are looking for the thief in this 100. And you take the first, let's say you take a population of 50. Then you said there is no thief in these 50 that you took. What about the other 50? Because you didn't test it, you couldn't identify the thief. Did you guys get me? So sometimes wrong sampling can lead to detection risk. And that's what we call sampling risk. The sample you took is not representative of the population. Then we have non-sampling risk. Maybe the procedure you used was not able to identify. If you have used a different procedure, you could have identified that risk. So this one is more of the auditor's fault, right? But it is not the auditor's fault if the client system is not able to capture risk. Do you get it? So this is an equation, right? Remember, increase in this means an increase in this. So when these guys increase, or when these guys are higher, and this guy is lower, are you getting it? Audit risk will still be high. It depends. It's an equation. Are you getting it? So it depends. So if I know that this guy is very risky, then it will lower my detection risk. Do you know why? Because already I know the person is risky. But if this guy looks less risky, it looks like, oh, this guy is fine, I have to increase my detection. I have to open my eyes very well so that I spot even wrong things. Does it make sense? So this equation is just not an equation. When you're using it to work, you must understand how to increase or decrease these things to see where they are hiding things. Hello.
Aye, aye.
In a question, you are not going to inherent risk, control risk. No. Control risk is the risk that your controls, your internal controls cannot spot errors or it cannot spot risks. Do you get it? And this control risk will happen if some factors are strong or weak. So what are the factors that influence control risk? So there are some factors that influence control risk. And what are these factors? These factors, remember our good friend crime. What did I say? Remember our good friend what?
Prime.
Crime. So those who are doing case study, be careful with this thing. Okay, it's still the same thing. So one, your control procedures. So control procedures or control activities are the things that you do, which are the controls itself. If you have these things, then the chance that your system will detect errors are high. Do you get? So you can use spam soap or soap spam. Okay, so segregation of duties, personnel controls, asset controls, management controls, supervision controls, organizational controls, arithmetic and accounting controls. Are you getting it? And physical controls. These are all controls. Then the other R is risk assessment. Do you think when you assess risk in your organization, are you getting it? It can create risk. The risk will be low because you're always assessing for risks. Do you understand? Then the I starts for your information systems. If you have strong information systems, will control risk be high or low? If you have strong information systems, will control risk be high or low?
To be low.
To be low, right? If you do frequent monitoring, will control risk be high or low?
Low.
We have strong environment of controls, which is the control environment. That is how management act. Let's say somebody is absent for 2 days. Then we take the money out of his salary. You are late. We penalize you. Do you think people will want to override controls? No, because management has an attitude of maintaining risk management, right? We call it risk embedding. So we are saying that the attitude of management and how they manage risk in the organization and how they deal with controls, like putting penalties in there, penalizing people when they override the controls alone can stop this control risk. So when these things are high, control risk will be low. Do you get it? When they are low or weak, control risk will be high. And these are the things that if they want to twist it and they don't bring the risk of material misstatements, they can bring this side of things. Where you will check, they'll give you a scenario. They only have one auditor at the office. Are you getting it? He doesn't often check. There's no strong flows. He doesn't often monitor. Management, some staff have been absent for the past 30 days. Nobody cares. It tells you that their control system is weak because these things are weak. Do you get it? Okay. So now they've instituted things like bringing in what? IT controls. You'll be doing a lot of IT controls because now almost most companies are automated. So automated tools and techniques, AI, use of client-generated data, information and report, text of controls. Are you getting it? Then you should be able to what? Evaluate for specified engagement and taking audit evidence. Okay, so when you are looking at evidence, you are looking at what? Sufficient. Is the evidence enough? Or appropriateness? Is it reliable? Can you rely on it? Or is it relevant? So we are saying that evidence itself, right? At your level, nobody is mostly going to ask you about evidence like theory, but you need to know. The reason why you need to know evidence, like you need to know sufficiency, and you need to know appropriateness of evidence is because you are going to use it to do your what do we call it? Your cases. Case now make sure the word didn't come. So enough evidence depends on one, the nature of the entity, the size of the entity, how material the thing is, okay? The extent of work done. All these things can tell you whether the evidence that you are getting is enough. And you need this to actually work on the company. The appropriateness has to do with two things, reliability and relevance. So reliability is the generalization. We all know that written evidence will be reliable than oral evidence. True or false? True or false? Evidence from a strong system.
True.
Yes, sir.
Auditor generated evidence will be better than client generated evidence. Meboa.
Yes.
Third party evidence is better than what? A client generated evidence. No be so. So this one is a generalization of reliability. So we are talking about how reliable the information is compared to other stuff. When we talk about relevance of audit evidence, we are looking at the ability to influence decisions. And the ability to influence decisions depends on something we call assertions. The assertions are general statements or principles or objectives that have been made about the account that should hold true. For instance, if I tell you complete, and this is what we use to do transactions, if I tell you completeness, it means that everything that I have seen has been accurately recorded in the account. So assuming some goods were bought for 50,000 cedis, right? Did they go through the trial balance, the ledgers, all that into the accounts properly? This 50,000, has it been properly recorded in the accounts? That is completeness. So if the transaction is complete, that means it has gone through all the necessaries to hit the account. Then we have what we call something like what? Occurrence. If we take this 50,000 in the P&L or the balance sheet, did it actually occur? That transaction in your book. So this one is like you are trying to see whether there was a fraud. You can see something in the account, but the invoice or the receipt doesn't exist. We call it occurrence. Did it occur? Do you understand? If it has to do with assets and liabilities, we are looking at existence. Did it exist? So how do we do that? We can physically inspect the asset to see whether it actually exists. This is how we do procedures. And yeah, we can even check valuation, right? That value on the asset or that value on the expense, does it have accurate values? Okay, you can check cutoff. Was it recorded in the right accounting period? You understand? You can check classification. Was it correctly classified? So you have revenue that you sold an asset, you recorded it in revenue. Is this the right? So all these things are linked. They are linked to evidence. They are linked to risk. If this thing is done the wrong way, it is a risk. So for instance, if I tell you to identify audit risk, you can use this and say, okay, for instance, we saw that this guy recorded 50,000. The 50,000 that he recorded, there was no invoice. It is an audit risk. That means you have overstated your what? Your expenses by 50,000 when there was no actual expense. It could be an omission. You get it? There are so many of them, but you should know these ones. There are so many of them that relates to assets and liabilities. So there are 3 levels of assertions in every account. We have the transaction level. So the transaction level is the P&L items. That's transaction. We have the account balance level. The account balance level are the balance sheet items, assets and liabilities. Then we have the presentation and disclosure level, okay, which is the notes to the accounts. Okay, so each of these assertions fit somewhere here. There are a lot of them. Rights and obligations, understandability. There are so many of them. But this is what we use to answer questions. Okay, so when you want to come up with an audit procedure, you must know what assertion you are actually vying for, what relevance. I get what assertion is relevant, what objective you want to achieve. Okay, you must look at the source of the evidence, what evidence you are testing, and what procedure you are using to test that evidence. Okay, and these are, if you see so far, I've listed some topics that are they are conk for advanced audit exam, such that when you forget your passing. Do you get it? I'll finish audit right now. After that, I'll summarize the key topics that you need to know. Like you need to study them very well. Even if you don't know any other topic, those topics, don't joke with them. They will come. It will shock you. Every time they come. Me, I'm the type, I'm objective when it comes to learning. I learn the things that are necessary to pass. That is my style. You get? So if I tell you to do an audit test, a procedure, an audit program, an audit strategy, That is how you audit. These are all asking for the same question. So when they ask you, first, you need what? What you are going to test. What am I testing? That's the source of the evidence. Are you getting it? How am I testing it? That is what? The technique you are using to test that evidence. And then why am I testing it? That is the assertion, the objective, right? The assertions we just saw. So this one, tie it to the case. Tie it to the case. That's the problem I have with students. It should be case related. These things are very simple, eh? But if you don't learn it well, you stress and be reading book. This is why we don't read book. You must use your accounting knowledge. Auditing and accounting are the same thing, but it's like you are looking in your mirror. Your left hand becomes your right hand. You are working back. So the accounting cycle starts with what? Your source document, where to book the day books or books of prime entry, hits the ledgers, hits the trial balance, hits what? The financial statements, right? So the same way when you are auditing, anything they tell you, it starts from what? A document. If I tell you, give me evidence for a finance lease, request a copy of the finance lease agreement. True or false? Finance lease, won't it have an agreement? Won't it have an agreement? Hello?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
So that's one source of evidence. So go through the accounting cycle for anything they ask you, and you get so many things to talk about. That finance lease, they would have made some initial deposit of some sort or some money. It should come with what? A receipt. Check for that receipt. Check the bank statement for that information. I get it. Even confirm from that person, because the liability, that person becomes your creditor, the lessor. Things, there are things. So accounting, working back, and friend auditing, you work back what was done to check whether it was done right. So when people are struggling with audit evidence, I wonder, okay, you must practice. The more you practice, the more you get used to read answers, adapt, add yours. You get it? So the sources of evidence, we usually use what? Data 3, which are documents. Okay, documents are sources of evidence. Example, the finance lease agreement I mentioned, right? Vouchers, tenancy agreement, if it has to do with rent. We have what? Assets. So you can even go and physically inspect assets. They are evidence. We have what? Directors. So the directors can give you what? Representation. They can give you what? Board minutes. I get it. They can give you discussion notes, and statement from the CEO, from the chairman. All these things are things you need, right? Then we have what? The accounting books. The accounting books are the ledgers, the day books, all those accounting stuff. Then we have what? Third parties. Remember, third parties also serve as what? Source of evidence, like your bankers, your lawyers, your creditors. I get it. So that's the source of evidence. Then how do we test it? You test by using our good friend Recario. So what is Recario? You can reperform something. Let's say they did a cash count. You are not sure about it. You can reperform the cash count. Enquiries. You can make enquiries, ask questions. I get to ask, it shall be given. Confirmations. You can confirm, right? We have what? Analytical procedures. That's what? Using trends, right? Asking yourself, why did this happen? Using trends and relationships, ratios. I get it. This one they like bringing in nowadays because people are not used to. Okay, ratios are everywhere. You must know why. So if this year you saw that thing we saw, receivables this year was 2.8 million. Last year, I get it. 20x1 was 2 point what? Let's say it was 0.2 million. Look at the jump, so high, right? Why did they jump so much? You must find the relationship, find some sort of percentage, maybe calculate the ratio. Then you inquire from management as to why this happened. Why the sudden jump from 200,000 to 2.8 million? So you may request evidence, and from that evidence, let's say from an inquiry, you get to know that, oh, okay, so there was a special contract in January for the distribution of maybe delivery vans for the company. Are you getting it? For a mining company, and that is why revenue increased that much. Okay, so these things, they are practical. So we can use analytical review, analytical procedures. we can do recalculation. For instance, if I'm doing depreciation, I can recalculate the depreciation figure. It's a procedure. We can do physical inspection. So inspection of invoices, inspection of assets. We can do observation. So you can observe somebody. Mostly observation and mostly used well with internal control. So you can observe somebody go through the control itself, right? Then the objective is the assertions that we looked at, right? So the assertions, we have what? The transaction level, which are the transaction level. So the transaction level, we can use KUKA, which is the completeness we talked about. We can use occurrence, whether the transaction actually occurred. We can use cutoff, whether it's recorded in the right accounting period. We can use classification, whether it's appropriately classified. We can use accurate value or accuracy, okay, to see whether it has the right amount. Then account balances level, the transactions, the balance sheet items. You are looking at what? COVE. So completeness is there. Obligation and rights. So you are saying whether that liability, you own it. Obligation and rights. Then you have valuation. Does it have the right value? You have existence, whether the thing actually exists, and so on and so forth, right? So anytime you want to do a procedure, you can use this, right? So for instance, I want to maybe generate a procedure for the finance lease agreement or the finance lease arrangement we went for. I can say what? One, maybe recalculate the finance lease depreciation or the depreciation on the right of use asset, right? To confirm, what are we confirming? If you calculate depreciation, what does it relate to here? To confirm accuracy. Accuracy. Why would I calculate depreciation if it is right? Do you get it? To confirm accuracy. So you see, 1, recalculation. 2, asset. 3, accuracy. So it follows. How did I do it? Recalculation. What did I do it on? An asset. What objective did I achieve? Accuracy or accurate values. Review board minutes. Review technique or method. Board minutes. Source of evidence to confirm completeness of transactions, right? Make inquiry of staff to confirm what? To achieve what objective? Do you get it? So that is it. So let me just give you specific areas that when it comes to advanced audit, you have to do, but make sure you have a copy of the syllabus and attach it, okay? The parts that relates to advanced audit and assurance, attach it to your book and then use it to, learn and be taken. The syllabus is very important to pass in. So that is a little bit of the common areas that you get. So first of all, ethics and professional issues. Okay, please write this down. If you think you want to pass advanced audit, then please write this one down. So ethics and professional issues. I told you what is in here. Risk, right? So risk. So no business risk, no audit risk. Okay. 3, audit planning and practice management. Okay, I'm just giving you all the topics that just stick to them. You'll be fine. Go and look at fraud and non-compliance. Fraud and non-compliance on their own as separate topics, though they are part of this area. Look at internal controls and internal control outsourcing. When you associate internal control department, I say internal control, internal audit, and internal audit outsourcing. Then I want you to look at subsequent events and going concern, audit of accounting estimates, analytical procedures, . public sector audit. You have audit procedures. Audit procedures, matters and evidence. So matters and evidence is where you have the accounting treatment, right? Where I told you what is wrong, what does the IAS say, the materiality, so the accounting treatment, the materiality, the risk, and the evidence, right? And every day this question will come, upil, umpil. This thing is always there. This thing is always there. This thing is always there. This thing always there. This thing is always there. This thing is always there. Every night. This one's in betweens, right? It can come, it cannot come, but these are topics that, I mean, if you look at them, at least you have a chance. So let me include this one. So audit reporting, every day there's a question on it. Audit reporting. So the audit reporting and opinions. Okay, the various type of opinions, the type of report. Then this thing that I want to write right now, IT in audits and computer assisted audit techniques. And finally, professional skepticism. See, there are so many topics, but I've just broken them down for you that master these ones that I've written. If you will not go and get 60 all the time, even if you don't do the other areas, okay? There's also a professional engagement, like engagement outside audits, okay? But those areas, I know definitely you look at it, but these are the key things that you need to know, okay? So if I should add one last one, which is XV, out of all the topics, just add group audits versus joint audits. No upon. And one, I've given you 15 small topics out of over here and here. So these are the major areas that when you come to advanced audit and assurance, I mean, they stand out. Okay, no matter what. So you see all this public accountability, all those things. But these same areas that you see here, they are the same areas that they are going to bring. They are not going to change anything, right? Just as some few things may come, you may not know, but you don't shiver. You use the first 2 months from now to like 2 months time to make sure that these areas they're on your fingertips. Then you now ask yourself, which area have I not covered? The small areas. Then you use the last 1 month. You go through the past questions, see how they come. Then you yourself, you practice, read some and add it to it. You'll be more than fine. Okay, so that was the little I wanted to share with advanced audit and assurance. It was in depth, eh? Thank you. Any question? Any question? Oh, please, I want questions. So, yes. Hey, so after all this, no question. No question. Okay, no problem. So let me see by hands how many of you are doing taxation, principles of tax.
So I'm doing advanced tax. I'm here to do advanced tax.
Okay, we'll do advanced tax too. Okay, how many of you are doing advanced taxation? Advanced taxation. Put up your hand. Just put up your hand. Just put up your hand if you are doing advanced tax. Yes, one. I've seen one. Only one. Only one. I only see one hand though.
No, I've sent mine to. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. So let's just dive into tax. So what do you think is the major thing? People are not taking tax seriously. They fail. Now tax is difficult, eh? Some people they've sat the paper, they are frustrated. But don't worry, you're in good hands. So what do you think is the major issue which is making people fail tax? Yes. What do you think is the major issue that is making people fail taxation, advanced tax? Yes. So nobody is talking. Today's session there, you didn't make me happy at all. You've just been quiet. Only few people are talking.
Sir, they told us the course is easy. But when you start learning, you will not finish the topic.
Is that when you start learning? Who said the course is
You are
easy?
not going to finish the topic.
Who told you the
Sir,
course?
they said the easiest course is tax and audit. Meanwhile,
No.
is the
What they have told you. All the courses are easy. You just don't have the right way to learn. That is why you are struggling. You see, when I say this, people are saying, you have me, I never failed any professional paper in my life. And the reason is because I have models. If you realize how I taught you this audit, trust me, if you apply this, you will find it easy. Everything is models. It's not that it's easy. It's not easy, but you have to discipline yourself. The course is, listen, any Tom, Dick, and Harry cannot just become a chartered accountant. It is a professional journey. First, understand that. It is not for everybody. Do you get me? That is why and you'll be a keke na obe who know CA. It is supposed to be difficult. You can Is there anybody who can become a doctor just like that? Please answer me.
No.
sir,
No, no, first understand, say it is above somebody's pay grade. It is difficult, right? But we try to simplify it for you in such that you don't have to learn everything complete before you pass. That's why the pass mark is 50 marks. There are some models that then a beba. So as a tutor over the years, I have come to understand that there are some models, whether you like it or not, they will come. As a student, your first 2 months, focus on those ones. But what we do is we want to start a book from cover to cover. It's a bad approach to learning. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Musa, your hand is up.
Yes, Prof. Thank you. Good evening. I think I like your answer to why we feel the professional exams or advanced taxation. What I realize is that we're not committed. We're not committed. We just go and register for the paper that I want to write, ICA or a professional program, and you as you rightly said, you have given us everything, but it's not left on to us to sit down and learn. But the commitment is not there.
That
So
is it.
one, yes, the experience I have over the period, students who not even you wait for them and they'll not come. Then later, the last minute, they wanted to give them the questions that will come. so I really like your answer to why we failed. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And also, because they've sold the mindset that tax and audit is not difficult, people think it's something that I can sit down last minute, then I just go and take one or two. For me, I can do last minute for you and you go and pass because I've done it over and over again. But you yourself, if you don't sit down to learn, I'm telling you, I can give you all the point in the world that you still don't make it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So everything is strategy. Okay, I'm a working mother. That is fine. One, I'm working. Two, I'm a mother. Okay, I have come to understand the terms that this problem, I already had it before I started the course. Please listen. Oh, you were already facing these problems before you started the course. Why did you take the course in the first place? I am a busy guy. I'm always working. I work 3 jobs. You know you work 3 jobs. You decided to become a CA. Now that you've become now that you are in CA, you are still giving excuses that my job is not giving me time to join classes. Then why did you join when those excuses were already there? We like to make excuses, but we don't like to take action. Those excuses were there before you started the course. Yet you are still making the same excuses. Then you shouldn't have done the course because they were there. In management accounting, we will say they are irrelevant for the decision because they are still there. You have to find your way around it. Or you don't get my point. Those problems, those working problems, late hours, were they not there already? They were. And you still pursue to do the course. So no excuses. I tell you the gospel truth that if you follow a specific pattern, you can always score 60 and above without putting in the effort that somebody who will get that same 60 will put. Are you getting it? Everything is learning models. There are some things, and that's why the syllabus gives you grade. Over syllabus way more. You can see that tax administration is 10, right? Fiscal policy is 10. Emerging and current trends is 10. International tax is 10. The funny thing is, you see this 40 marks. That is 10, 10, 10, 10. And mostly just theory. What did I say? They are mostly just what?
Theory.
Theory. This one, you can just use 1 week if you're a very serious student. Me, I'll tell you the truth, to be honest. The ICA students that have come now, they are not serious. It's not to offend anyone. Our time, when we're doing ICA, books were not there like this. They were in YouTube videos. The only YouTube channel you are going to see is London School of Business and Finance. And even that one, you have bits and pieces of videos. You don't get. Now, there are videos all over. Every topic you want to learn, it is there. But we will prefer to go to multiple classes, not get time to learn, fail, and still blame tuition centers and blame the examiner. When me try you, man, pass it. Some people will sit down, they will read, they will watch lectures and be chewing popcorn. They don't practice. I'm telling you the truth. Oh, if you don't put the pen to the paper, you will never build hand-to-eye coordination. Imagine you are going to fight boxing. You are being trained by Mike Tyson, the best boxer, right? If he teaches you how to throw a jab, how to throw a cross, an uppercut, right? You learn footwork, you move, you jump here, you go there. But you are just observing him and you yourself, you don't throw the punch. On the day of the fight, do you think you will win or you will lose?
You will lose.
You will lose because you didn't build that coordination. You are just using your eye. The way Ghanaians watch lectures, we want recorded videos. They just sit down and just watch the video. They don't practice. They don't make notes. They don't ask questions. If you don't force your brain to go into adaptive response mode, I tell you, you are not learning. You should encounter problems. Your brain only works on the cause and effect thing. Okay, if you want to know how your brain learns, you must make errors. Then your brain will use that error as a restore point. Computers were developed based on the human brain. You see, computer creates restore points based on when there was an error with the system. So your brain works like that. Until you make a mistake, it doesn't register. Do you get it? So the mistakes you made, they're not that they register as a restore point. On the day of the exam, I made this mistake and I corrected it. You remember and write. But we don't learn like that. Now that so much information is available, we keep making excuses and we don't actually do the work that is supposed to be done. That is the problem. See, it's not about how many tuition centers you go to. I will tell you the truth. The work is still on you. Now, for the tuition centers, me like this, I even do 100% for my students. See, before, tuition centers only did 20%. You do the 70. The examiner can do 10 for you. But possibly 30% from tuition, 70 by you. But now it's like the tuition centers are doing 100% for you. And just go and sit down and write too. They don't learn. It hurts. I'm telling you the truth. It really hurts. It really hurts. Do you get me? So this thing, remember, that's why it's not everybody who is a chartered accountant. It is not small. Let me show you something. How many of you have seen the ICA logo before? How many of you have seen the ICA logo before? Oh, how many of you have seen the ICA logo before? Everybody's quiet.
So yeah, we've seen it before. Yeah.
But do you understand? Have you ever asked the meaning of the logo?
No.
Here. Not that important.
Okay.
That's important. So we don't learn it. Now, see this logo. This thing you see that it means you need the strength of 2 elephants. The strength of 2 elephants to carry this exam. And you need to always keep your book open. Your knowledge must be shining. You must never close your book. And you must be a balanced person, integrity and objectivity. That's what this logo means. See, the exam is not for people who are not ready to do the work. You need the strength of 2 elephants. You need to always keep your book open. You always need to be learning. That's why it is shining, your knowledge brighter. And there's a skill depicting balance, integrity, and objectivity. Do you get it? Now I see it doesn't do orientation. But this is what this thing means. Into the people who want things to be like what do we call it? Guinness and tea bread. As I saw I saw somebody drinking Guinness with tea bread. I don't even know. I also want everything to be too soft. That means you must work in advance. Okay, if you want things to be soft for you in your professional journey, you must work in advance. You must put in systems that simplify things for you. Now that there's AI, there's LLMs, there's so many available information that if you take a course today, you can summarize your whole textbook into just 30 or 40 pages. But people don't do this. They have all the tools. So it's like now that enough medicine and medical equipment are available, look at how people are dying. Do you get it? So it means that, I'll tell you the gospel truth. What effort you are putting in today, if you multiply by 2 by yourself, you will pass. I've seen that the problem with ICA students is they don't learn. As Musa said, they are not committed enough. They think they are adults. They think they have their own money. And so they don't put in the required effort and they keep making excuses. I prefer the hard, bitter truth. Try and put in 2 times the effort you are putting in and see if you will not pass any paper. You will pass. These things are not difficult. Look at the obstacles you have encountered in life and you have overcome them. All for a single paper to come and worry you. You are bigger than that. You get me? I hope no one is offended. But I like to tell you the truth. It's the truth that will set you free. Work. There's no magic anywhere. Work. I will simplify things for you in class, but you need to work. I tell people, do the possible things and let God do the impossible. We keep saying that at the end of the tunnel, there's what? What do we keep saying? What's the saying? There's what here? What is at the end of the tunnel? Light. There's light at the end of the tunnel. But if I'm standing here and I don't move to the end of the tunnel, will I see the light?
No.
I
No.
wouldn't see the light. So it means
No.
that employ God in your life, right? You need to do the possible things for God to do the impossible. And God needs something to work with. If you're an auditor, you need something to work with. You need evidence. God needs evidence from you. He needs a step. You take the step, then he holds your hand. If you don't take the step and you are there saying, I am blessed, I'll get my pass mark, now lie. God needs a step. You take the step, then he has something to work with. Do the possible things, then he will do the impossible for you. That is it. So you don't sit down and say that I will get money and just be sitting down. If you don't work, you don't get it. You will be hungry. You go hungry. It's the same thing. Put in the work and God will secure your pass mark for you. It is like that. I've never seen anybody put in the work and doesn't get results. It is not. There are things, there are universal principles. It doesn't matter your religion. If you do them, you will see the result. That's why we say, what is luck? Luck or good luck is when your what? Or favor is when what? Your preparation meets opportunity. Okay? See, you have prepared very well for this paper. That is a possible thing you have done, right? The possible thing you have done is the preparation. This is the possible. Then the opportunity, you go and whatever you learned appeared in the exam hall. That is what? The impossible God has created. Okay, so do the possible things. Let God create the impossible. So your preparation must meet the opportunity. So if you don't prepare well, the area that you go and it will come. You will not, even though God wanted to favor you, because you didn't learn it. Because you didn't learn it, you didn't meet it. But if you have learned, God will make whatever you learned come. This is the simple equation. Your preparation must meet any opportunity. I'm telling you, let me ask you a simple question. Everybody, just give me a fair and square answer. Assuming World Bank said they are ready to pay you $200,000 every month, they want you to just use 1 week to complete the ICA textbook. Would you do it or you wouldn't do it?
I would have done it.
Everybody will find a way, even if they have to dab the whole book into their head, they'll find a way to do it. Are they lie? Oh, just be honest. So why are we not?
Not true. Not true.
So you see that the whole thing is a gimmick. It means that yen for effort in shame. Because if they are ready to give you this and you can learn the whole thing, then if you chatter to, there are better opportunities. So why don't you learn not because of exam, but because of the end result, which is you getting better opportunities because you're a chartered accountant? What if there was a gun on your head and your family that if you don't pass advanced taxation and any paper you are doing, they are going to kill your whole family? Won't you pass? Oh, answer me. You overpass. If I tell you get 100, you get 100. It's because there's no external force pushing you. So you are so relaxed. I'm telling you, that is the thing. Now you see that you are not putting in much effort. Have
Okay,
you?
so the truth is that this time around, most of us are paying our fees, so nobody asks us
You said that.
why we have failed, because most of us are self-funded. So nobody is questioning why we failed. Or
Yes. Yes, that is it. Put in the effort. You will see results that will amaze you. I'm telling you. If you put in the effort, the results that you will see, you'll be amazed. I'm telling you. There are right structures to use to learn, right? So I tell people, every student, there are some things that you need, and this simplifies your learning. Are you listening? Every student. Why is my distance messing up? Every student, there are some things that you need. One, you need a syllabus. People ignore the syllabus completely. They just jump into tuition and whatever they are teaching, they are absorbing. Ask yourself, even what the person is teaching, is it what the syllabus is requiring from you? How many of you ask these questions? None. Or few, even. Syllabus, you need recommended study texts. Okay, you need recommended study texts. Okay, if it comes to tax, I'll tell you, I have the #1 book available. Contact me if you need it. Everything that you need is in that book. You can use ICA book, you will fail. You use my book with even little effort, you will pass. I know why I've structured it like that. And they are living testimonies. For tax, I'm a tax guy. I know what I'm talking about. You get me? So you need a recommended textbook. You need past questions. Okay? You need the various acts. Tax, you work with acts. You need the acts. You can download them. Even if you don't have hard copy, you can download that. You can download them online. And then you need accountability partners. This is the reason why most people are not passing. You need somebody to check you, to be on you. So you can liaise with somebody. You help me, I help you. That's how you do it. Today, if this day I said, today I want to learn maybe capital allowance. The person wants to learn business income. You must check, Kofi, did you learn this? You too, did you learn this? Okay, so if you don't learn it at the end of the week, you must pay me this amount of money. Then it's an agreement both of you decide on. So you will see that you will be pushing yourself because there's an external force forcing you. And then at the end of the day, you realize that all these things are working. Because if I do something, I check an area in the syllabus, I'll go through the textbook, see how the area is done. I'll walk through the past questions to see how many times it has been examined, what part of the act is being examined. Then my partner, I may even repeat it to him and see if what I've done is the right one. If you tried this, give yourself the next 2 months. You'll be over prepared than somebody who has learned the whole book cover to cover. Hello? Did it make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So ICA students don't like investment. Not at all. That is why most of them fail. But I always use this illustration. Assuming there are 2 classes, right? Or 2 colleges. One takes you 200 cedis for all the things you are doing. And one takes you 1,200 cedis. Most people run here, right? And go and pay 200 cedis for the class. But this one, you go and then you fail over and over again. This one, you go and you pass once. Which one is more expensive?
The 200.
Because one, you go, you waste time. You fail over and over and over again. You keep going. You become frustrated. You are wasting your time. You are wasting your money. But if you go, you just pay 1,000 to you pass just once. So investment is everything. It is a lifelong. See, one thing you must understand is professionals never retire. If you're an accountant, it's for life. Have you seen a retired doctor? They say they got retirement, but they have their own private practice. Are they lie? As a professional, you cannot retire. This is a lifelong journey. So invest into it. Somebody will prefer to buy data. And when you add the weak data that he buys, people buy data over 1,000 CDs without noticing. But buy a book for 350 CDs, 400, they will complain, and the boy didn't do, and then the boy didn't before, and it was 100. You see, the thing that will improve their lives, they are not willing to invest in it. That small course, which they said was 800 CDs that you wanted to do on data analysis, you said it was expensive. But the movie that you want to watch, you can buy data just to binge watch series on Netflix, pay subscription. You see, it's like, let me ask you this. Do you know everybody knows what he must do to succeed? But we don't actually do it. Who here doesn't know what he has to do to succeed? Everybody knows what he must do to pass. But why are we not doing it? Oh, answer me. Who here doesn't know what he needs to do to pass? Show by hand. Oh, show by hand if you don't know what you need to do to pass your exam or to succeed in life. Everybody knows. But we are just not disciplined enough to do it. So it tells you that we are the cause of our own problems because everybody knows exactly what he must do. Your brain has to, you have told yourself some things you want to do, but you have never started them. Before you see somebody started somewhere and say, hey, this thing was my idea. No. Ideas are divine downloads. The same way it comes on you, it comes on other people as well. So if within the time limit you don't take advantage of them, someone else would. And it doesn't mean it was yours. It's a divine download. You tap into it, you download. So I tell you the gospel truth. Me, I like to. It's all the failure that you see around are not because people are not. Yes, learning and preparation, handwriting, and other things are part, but it's all mindset. So one kasa unjin to muse why you ready so be pass here. If you don't become the kind of person who can pass the paper, then forget it. If you are still you, the current you will still face problem. You must become the kind of person who can pass that paper. Are we okay? Okay, so that's just about it. So these are the required materials. But I have one of the best taxation textbooks. If you're interested, you hit me up, right? Questions just drop from there, dito all the time. No be lie. All right. So when it comes to the tax syllabus, let me break it in a different way for you. Okay. So now when you look at ICA tax, just like we saw in the syllabus, right? Tax planning and ethics is spread across. I mean, every topic you can have bits and pieces of tax planning and ethics, but let's first look at those areas that we saw in the syllabus. And I told you that if you're a very smart student, those areas are theory, right? So look at this. Tax administration, I told you is theory, 10 marks. Fiscal policy is theory, 10 marks, right? Emerging and current issues, 10 marks. International tax, 10 marks. These 40 marks that you see, please, are you following? It's theory. Just discipline yourself. Tell yourself that within the first week, within the first or the last week, I am going to master those areas. Because if it is theory, it means that if you focus and learn them very well, there's a chance that this 40 marks will be there for you. Are you following? Then, business income taxes calculation. Oil and gas and minerals calculation and some theories. Mostly they'll give you calculation. Okay, mineral royalties and something. Tax planning and ethics. Mostly is theory, but advice. You can have some few calculation there. Here they like to bring thing capitalization a lot. ICA tax planning is mostly about think cap and mergers and acquisition. Mostly this is what they bring under tax planning. And maybe the variables of tax planning and so on and so forth, right? Yes. And then transaction taxes is VAT and customs, but mostly the only custom question that mostly they'll ask you is duty, computation of duty, CIF. And these things, they are normal tax calculations that you can get every time. So if you are very smart, the area that fails people, okay, the area that fails people in advanced taxation is this 40 marks. I won't lie to you. If you read the examiner's comment, you see that since the time it was taxation and fiscal policy, it was still these same 40 marks which were failing people. And then VAT. People don't like VAT. So roughly 65 marks is what is failing people. VAT, tax administration, fiscal policy, emerging and current trends, and the international tax. People are not so strong there. But when it comes to computation of income, chargeable income, at least people get more than half of the mark. Company tax, people get more than half of the mark. But the areas I've highlighted, people are failing. So why not gather your momentum? Take this 40 marks. Say no matter what, I must get it. It is theory. How do you learn theory? You have a mobile phone, don't you? Record chapter by chapter onto your phone and save it. Be listening. You can add background music through CapCut. Then it will be like somebody recording a podcast. You're always listening to your own voice. There's no voice sweeter than your own. Record yourself in a mirror. Teach yourself. Put it on your phone. When you're in the office, you listen. You chew your popcorn. You eat your food. You are teaching your own self. Who said learning is difficult? You are not learning the right way. You have music on your phone. Record your notes. Very soon you'll be rapping along your notes. You can convert your notes into a rap through AI. It will be rapping. You'll be singing along before you see all the things are in your head. Who said you cannot learn? You're just not putting in the right effort. Me, the ICA textbook, when you give it to me within 1 week, I've finished the whole book. That's how I learn. Because there are simple ways. You can summarize things. I can even sometimes I convert my books to pidgin and just read it in pidgin. You can do so many things. Now that there's so much IT. But we just keep making excuses and we don't do what we are supposed to do. So that's the strategy to passing advanced taxation. This is it. This is the roadmap. If you follow this roadmap, you realize that you will save a lot of time yourself. Right? So that is it. The advanced taxation book, it goes for 250. And I also have advanced taxation topic-wise past questions, right? It's the past questions are grouped according to topic. It has questions from ICA, CIT, and ADIT, Advanced Diploma in International Taxation. It's very loaded and packed. Let me just show you. Let me just give you an illustration of how it looks like, right? It has so many questions, and it's grouped according to topic. I just want to show you. So if maybe you don't want textbook, but you want topic-wise questions and answers, I sell topic-wise questions and answers for all courses in ICA and CIT curriculum, but some of them I'm updating them. I just want you to know how they look like. So just give me a minute and let me just show you how they look like. So it's loading. Please give me some few minutes. But I hope everything I said you understood and you are ready to put in the work. I hope you are ready to put in.
Sir.
Okay. So
Well,
classes effectively
if
from next Tuesday.
if I may ask, sir, so what if I decide to take the topic-wise past questions and leave the part, the book itself? Is
Oh,
that
that's what I said. It's dependent on you. Some people,
okay?
my book itself is a question bank on it. All my books are literally question banks because every topic, when I finish, I bring 5 to 10 questions on that same topic before I move to the next topic. Do you get it? But maybe
Okay.
you want topic-wise question and answers, like topic by topic question and answers. So let me just show you how it looks like. So for
Okay.
instance, my screen here, right? You can see tax planning and what? Who can see my screen? Tax planning and its intended objectives, right? So May 2020 question 3. So all the question on tax planning and its intended objectives, you go through them. You can see. I hope you are all seeing May 2021. So these are all questions on tax planning and its intended objectives. You see how they are grouped. They are topic. Question 3, the areas of tax planning and the tax incentive. Question 4, variables of tax planning again. Then see the next topic. What's it on? Tax avoidance and evasion schemes. So CIT, strategic tax planning, right? With the aid of specific provisions in the Ghana tax law, assess the veracity or otherwise, and identify 2 anti-avoidance measures. You see, plenty. ICA, April 2022, bending the law without breaking it. Required. How is tax avoidance different from aggressive tax avoidance, right? Explain what tax evasion and identify 3 ways by which companies evade taxes, right? Distinguish between tax evasion and tax avoidance. So these questions are only on tax avoidance and evasion schemes. Then come to anti-avoidance. July 2023, question 1, think cap. And then that one. So it's topic by topic. And the questions are many, over 1,000 plus questions. It's too many. And there's no way you go and sit and examine a question doesn't come from here. That's why I tell you that I have studied the system over time, and I've cracked the code to passing first attempt. I tell people and they keep laughing. Why are you a magician? No, I have done it over and over a decade. And I've sat down to analyze and see that okay, these are topics that every day they are there. So if I give you topics and you don't take it serious, you go and then you struggle. But if you take my word serious, that 80% of topics, if you prepare, it is better than somebody who learned 100% because you will learn and become very strong in the 80 or the 70, and then you pass. You see, these are all past questions, according to topic, according to what area. And you see that thing capitalization dominates. So I see a think cap, always anti-avoidance is between think cap and mostly mergers and acquisition. You see think cap, think cap, think cap, think cap, think cap, think cap, think cap all the time. Think capitalization, think capitalization, think capitalization when it comes to tax planning and the friends. Okay, think cap, capitalization of profits, capitalization of profit, capitalization of profit. See, capitalization of profit again. See, same arrangements. Capitalization of profit, anti-avoidance, think capitalization again. I mean, see, questions are plenty. And Sada. Seventeen questions, so it doesn't finish. Mergers and amalgamations, reorganizations. Okay, November 2023. July 2023. July 2023 again. There are many. I mean, if you should group this, plenty. So many questions. And the book is over 400 pages worth of past questions. So imagine the amount of value that is packed for you. Okay, so that was it for taxation. I already gave you the strategy to pass. Are you getting it? If you are ready to, maybe you want classes, we run the best classes out there for you, which is very stressful. I mean, I'll stress you to pass. By force pass this time. No mercy, no say I couldn't join class. No, 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 no. Anytime you miss class, you pay penalty. That is it. If you don't do mock, you pay everything, you pay penalty. The thing is, you pass first attempt, reap your reward, then you come and meet me in other courses, right? So that brings us to the end of our session. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask me. Then we take it from there. Nobody has a question for me.
Sister, when is classes starting? The
Oh.
advanced tax, when is it starting?
Advanced tax is coming Tuesday. Advanced tax is on Tuesdays. It was supposed to be this Tuesday, but because of the syllabus walkthrough, that's why I just did it, right? But next week, effectively, you will be joined. And it will be Tuesdays and most Saturdays, right? So you join Tuesday and Saturday mornings, okay? And some Fridays too. So it means that media, I'm going to stress you in taxation. You join Tuesday, you join Friday, you join Saturday. To tax there, it is 1,000 class. If you are ready to pass, you reach out to me, right? I hope you all have my number, or you reach out to the administrator.
Please, how much the Prof? How much is the advanced tax book yours?
And the book goes for 250. The topic-wise past question is also 250. They are all 250, 250.
So, which of them did you say has been arranged according to the topic? Is it the book itself or the?
The book is according to topic. The past question is also according to topic. That's why it's called topic-wise past question. Let me show you how the book looks like.
Okay.
Don't know if I have the book here. But I mean, I sell books for every course, not only ICA. Sell books for every course with topic-wise past questions for every course. Every professional accountancy and way course I'm coming. I'll just show you. Advanced taxation ICA.
Okay. While we wait to see how the book looks like, if I may ask again, during lectures or class or after class, will you share something like a okay.
Sometimes when there's a challenging area, I share some notes. Okay, it's not everything that I share notes for, but I use the act. The book is for you, but me, I use the tax act. I teach with the tax act itself. I want you to become a good tax practitioner. So I use the act to teach. Everything we do, I use the act, but we pick questions from the book. So see, you see the table of contents. Can you see? Chapter 1, tax administration. GRA in the administration, the Commissioner General restructuring of GRA, tax administration in Ghana, modern tax administration, everything under tax administration. This is all tax administration. Chapter 2, computation of tax liability, just like the syllabus. Introduction to income and tax payable, insurance, banking, all those things are there, expenses. All these things have questions. So plenty questions are in the book. So you see how
Um,
fiscal policy.
I'm in again. If I may ask once again, for someone who has held a book for, I think the last time I remember learning, as in proper learning, it's about 2 years ago. About
If
2-3 years ago. With such a person, is it possible to take 3 or 4 papers at a go?
you can, but it's all about your discipline. I tell you, everything is possible. I had a guy who said he wanted to be like me. He was working at GMPC, very busy guy. He wrote 6 papers and passed all 6. It's possible. It
Okay.
is. It's all up to you. If you think that you cannot stress enough, then my best advice is now ICA runs 3 diets in a year. Why not strike it 2-2-2? Or maybe you do 3, then you do another 3. Or you do 2, then you do another 2. It's better because it's 3 times a year, right? And it's still within the same year. So if you think you will stress, then do 2-2. It's better. You get it?
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
possible to write all 4 and make it, but the kind of stress it will put on you, Massa, it's better you do 2-2. Then you are fine so that you can have absolute focus.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Always welcome. So this is how the books look like, and they have been arranged according to the syllabus exactly, right? Emerging and current issues. You can see current issues in international taxation, appropriate forms of communication, right? I teach you how to write briefing note, briefing paper, right? Writing a letter, writing a briefing note. You see where it took me? Audience of a briefing note. Okay, maybe you want to buy soft copy. Soft copy, you can buy it on my website. It's there on the website. So you just buy, you pay offline. I can add you to it. Every time you log on, you can get access to it. You read online. Uh-huh. So all my books, soft copies are there.
Please, I want the hard copy, but I'm in Tamale. I believe you can
I
do.
send everywhere. I send books everywhere. So
Then
you see,
that's good.
I teach you how to write a memo, a briefing note, an advice, a presentation. I teach you professional communication, and that's the last part, right? This book is packed with questions. See, questions, plenty questions everywhere. See, questions. You see how questions, plenty questions on Think Up. Plenty questions. Plenty questions. The book is loaded with questions. Loaded with questions. So okay, so let me give you my number or the administrator's number. The administrator's number is 0246752130. And my number is 02434439 and 34. Okay, it doesn't matter the course you want to do. I run every course that you can think about. And my pass rates are 99%. The 1% is for you. Okay. So if you have any questions, I'm still open. If you have specific questions, you can ask me regarding your exam you are writing. I'm there to help you, right? Pass once and for all. So I'm here for you. That's why I'm running this session. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Let me know and we can take it from there. No question? All right. May the Lord be with you. Have a good night.
Doctor with you. Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.